What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jay Rene with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This morning we got a treat for you. We got the brother by the name of Big Wick here. He's going to holler at us, right? He's going to talk to us about music, past and present, and what he got going on. So let's jump right into it. Good morning, bro. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? This is Big Wick, a.k.a. Wicked.
All right.
Jay Rene, Prison Ride Radio. You know, we up early getting it. What's going on?
It is early, and I definitely appreciate you taking this time to come holler at us.
Yes. Hey, it's all good. I see y'all doing y'all thing out there, and a much-needed platform is provided. So, you know, I had to jump on. You know, it's like you're giving us a voice, and so I appreciate you for that. You know what I mean?
For sure. You got it, bro. Most definitely.
Hey,
all right, for sure. So, tell the people a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Originally born in Philly, you know what I mean? But, you know, at the age of like 5 or 6, moved out to New England, out Connecticut area, right outside of New York. And, you know, average story that, you know, growing up in the hood, seeing all the craziness, gunshots, violence, all the craziness. And, you know, eventually grew up into that and got into that lifestyle. You know, grinded my way through. I'm just giving you a snapshot.
Right, for sure.
Grinded my way through. Started investing in some businesses and was attracted to this hip-hop thing. You know, so simultaneously while doing that, I was always doing this music thing too.
Okay.
And eventually started bumping heads with some official people, and, you know, the Wicked name came from the streets and it transferred into the music name. And then, you know, one thing led to another. And, you know, started dropping music, CDs, meeting some dudes in the industry and just getting things flowing. But, you know, hit a roadblock.
Right.
Ended up in here, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so right, yeah, I know you definitely, you know, you're behind the G-Wall right now. How do you stay motivated since you've been back there?
You know, the way I look at everything is it's deeper than what we see on the surface. I look at jail as, you know, actually, according to the 13th Amendment, this is slavery. But that's how I look at it, and I look at it like another way to try to keep people that's influential in the community down, you know, trying to keep us stagnated. And, you know, you have some people that deserve it, that deserve to be here, that do things, and then you have some people that are targeted to be here. Right. And I wholeheartedly feel that I'm one of the targeted individuals to be here because I was being successful and evading certain agencies when I was doing what I was doing, so they found a way to get me here anyway. That being said, it inspires me. It inspires me to be everything that they don't want me to be. So, since, you know, you label me one thing, I don't accept that label, you know, and that's, and I talk about that extensively in the book that I'm sure we'll get to it later, but I talk about that. So what inspires me the most, outside of me already having the will and the drive to survive, it's just the fact that, you know, another man or another power is trying to make sure that I'm not successful. That you can't. It's a wrap. Like, once you know, I know you're doing that, it's over. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop me. Like, you know. So
for sure.
As a result, I'm 3 books in. You know, thousands of songs are legal. Fighting my own case. You know, I'm 4.0 GPA in college on business administration. There's nothing they could do to stop me. So that's where my drive comes from. Get a little passionate about that when you ask that question, so my bad.
For sure, ain't nothing wrong with that, you know. Definitely congratulations on all your accomplishments, and I definitely agree about the 13th Amendment being slavery. You know, we got to get rid of that. So we definitely understand that on this platform, you know. So I know you mentioned
Absolutely.
your books,
You know.
but I want to talk a little more about hip hop first. So, when did you fall in love with hip
Okay.
hop? When did your love affair begin?
Can you say that one more time?
I said, when did your love affair with hip hop begin?
Oh, so I loved hip hop from, real young. My brothers used to be in the house rhyming, rapping in the shower, singing Run DMC and all that stuff. But what really cemented it in my heart and mind and brain is, and I go into this in the book too, is when I was growing up in a projects in New Haven called Church Street South, a.k.a. the Jungle. I was growing up in there, and an old school rapper, or a few old school rappers, used to always come down there and be with the kingpins, the big dogs, the dudes that was really moving. And Big Daddy Kane was one of them. And then they had LL used to be down there, Cut Creator. LL's DJ back then would hang down there, and he had some family down there. And the Kingpin dude would bring these dudes through, Biz Markie and all that. So when I literally saw Big Daddy Kane in my project, that blew me away. Because 2 days after that, he was on Arsenio Hall show. If anybody could remember out there, Arsenio Hall had a late night talk show. And I seen him on there 2 days later. So I was like, yo. And, back in them days, I was a little young kid. But Big Daddy Kane was like the biggest dude at the time. So that kind of like, I'm like, man, I could do this, man. This dude is in my hood. And now he on TV and he's shouting out on his albums. He's shouting out my hood, and he's shouting out people from the hood. And I'm hearing this stuff, so it's like he was very inspirational. And that's, if you want to talk about where it began, I think that's where it was cemented into my heart at that moment. That had to be like, I think I was probably like 8 years old at the time, maybe 7 or 8. But that's it.
But yeah,
that's where it started.
Okay. I can definitely understand that. One of my catchphrases I always say is hip hop is in the hood. It's even on my logo, And you're right, it definitely should be in the hood. That's where it really is. That's where it came from, and that's where it should really give back to in a better way. That's my opinion anyway. Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no. I was just going to add on. I was just going to add on and say there's a song I got on one of my joints called Ghetto Life, and I even mentioned that in it. I said, I remember seeing Big Daddy Kane in my hood, cooling out with dudes like the shit was all good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Real dude. Shit, I said, real nigga. Chilling in the tenement halls the next day. I seen him on Arsenio Hall, so I that really inspired me a lot.
Like, 1 minute left.
And don't worry about it. We're gonna continue this. I'm gonna call right back when that happens. But they said we have 1 minute. So this is what it is for your listeners. Y'all know what time it is. This is jail stuff, man. Time run out. People gotta call back. It is what it is.
Facts. It is, bro. Come hit us back. Come hit us back. All right, y'all. We are back. Big bro is back. So, let's jump right back into it. We was talking about, hip-hop music. We talked about how hip-hop is in the hood and, just some of the music that you started to create. So let's dive a little deeper into that. So when you started creating music, what year was that?
Well, I can't give you the exact year, but I know I was young. I remember the first time I wrote a song and was trying to go record it. Mm-hmm. And my mom brought me over to this little studio in New Haven on a street called Whaley Avenue. And I met this producer named White Rock. And he made this beat for me. And I had to be, I want to say I was like maybe 10 or 11. I was real young. I had a little baby voice. But I went in there and I laid it down. And that producer dude fell in love with how I laid it down, and he stayed in touch with me, and we ended up doing a whole bunch of things together. And a lot of the music that I have out even right now, he still was with me, and he did the beat. So, but that had to be, I want to say that was like, roughly thinking off the top of my head, I want to say that was probably like 90.
Right.
Like maybe 1990 or 89, something like that. Because, yeah, maybe 1990 to 89. 89 to 90, 91, around that area. Somewhere like that. I remember.
Yeah, you was young, so you started, young in the game. That makes sense, for the quality of your work, so you've been at it for a while. So that's awesome right there. I'm glad you had somebody that could, cultivated your gift. That's important. Very important.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
So what was, go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, that's all good. I was just agreeing with what you were saying. That's a fact. You need somebody like that. You need somebody around you that will tell you the truth and help take you. And once again, official Prison Riot Radio. Y'all hear the yelling and screaming in the background.
Man, they those on this platform, they know what it is, They know what it is. But that's a part of it. So let's get the music. So when did you start actually mingling with others and really start getting your music made in the studio? Like when your grown up started with it?
So and again, I gotta keep saying, I'm gonna keep saying it so it don't sound redundant if I say it later, that I break all this stuff down in my autobiography. So, I was in these streets, eventually I never wanted to be in the streets, and then but I ended up, hardships pushed me that way. So I was in them, and while I was in them, there was people constantly coming at me, other street dudes, even the kingpin of the project, everybody at the time was coming at me, constantly saying, "Yo, bro, what are you doing? You're talented. Get out of it," and they will always try to push me, in the music direction. But I was always saying, "Yo, I need this money," so it was crucial. So I ended up kind of doing half and half. I was doing the music stuff, but I was doing getting my money too. When it really started to take off is, I would be in the studio, booking studio time or whatever, but when it really started to take off is when I met an individual by the name of DJ K. Slay. I had already had dropped local little music around my area, but when I met him, I went to New York one day and met him through some mutual friends, and by the time I got on his CD, that kind of propelled me even higher and caused me to go harder, to take it more seriously. Yeah. And we can go more into detail of that if you have any questions, specific questions. I can go into more detail with that.
Okay, well, how was it working with K. Slay? Like, what type of relationship did y'all have?
This brother was a friend more than business. God rest his soul. We met. He was fresh out of jail. You know what I'm saying? And so I had never been to jail yet.
Okay.
I had some run-ins with the police, but I had never did a bid. So he was fresh out. When he first met, he was a little cold, rough around the edges. He didn't know who I was. And he had a CD that he was selling. When I first met him, this was way before he was a huge DJ and before he had an artist named Papoose. This was before all of that. This was years before that.
Okay.
And he had a CD out with a dude named Alpo hosted it. And at the time, I had only heard the street stuff about Alpo and the movie they had called Paid in Full. Cameron was the actor acting as Alpo. He had that CD out at the time. And so I bought, as a show token of my appreciation and, to just patronize the brother. When we was talking, I seen he was a little cold. So I said, "Yo, how much are your CDs?" He gave me the price. I said, "Give me 400 of them." He was like, "Yo, what up? All right." And then he said, "You got your own store?" And I was like, "Yeah, I own a business." They said, "Take my number, man." He opened up to me.
Right.
It was the business that, kind of got him, which is understandable. Some people waste some people's time. Once that happened, I had handed him a CD with a song on it of mine. And it took him a while. Like he dropped about maybe 5, 6, 7 more CDs, and I wasn't on them. Oh man, what's this dude doing? Man? He's playing, but he kept telling me, be patient, be patient. Long story short, he ended up dropping it one day, and he said, yo, you want it? It was on. So I say that to say this. This dude, our relationship was a business relationship, but it was a friendship too.
Right,
He was just a straight, clear. He was a clear-cut dude. Like he'd tell you what's on his mind, but he was also a humble. Believe it or not, it sounded like he wasn't humble because Drama King, all that. But he was a humble, warm-hearted brother. And he'll do things for you. He'll give you things. He was just. I watched him one time. The dude came home from jail, and we was at Jimmy's Cafe. He had a show to do up there, and me and him were together. And his brother came home from jail, and he just gave me 10 raps. Take this. Then another brother that you may have heard of, or your audience may have heard of, named Sub-Zero. He does DVDs. That was. They that put him when he came home from jail. They introduced him to me and said, "Wait, I need you to help blow him up in Connecticut, in New England, and Rhode Island, and all that stuff. Put him in your stores." I said, "Say no more." So he'll do stuff for you when you come home. He was a good ally for the streets and for the dudes coming home from jail. He wanted to see you success. He wanted to see you win. You know what I mean? He's a good brother.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. Shout out to him, and wrap his family in love. And I'm glad that, y'all got to build y'all friendship together for sure. Most definitely. So let's dive into the book that you wrote. So tell us, I was going to attempt to say the name, but I don't want to mess it up, bruh. It's a very unique name, so let people know the name.
Apotheosis Analogy. How two worlds became one. In brief, apotheosis means, going from one level of consciousness to God consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And this is my analogy of what that means. So in the book, what you will see is, and then the subtitle, How Two Worlds Became One, it just breaks down how, I was living, I really felt like I was living in two different worlds. People didn't know. All people might see is the music, and they think that's just your world. They don't know. When I go home, I got, street stuff to deal with. You know what I mean? They don't see that. So, for me, it's all one world. But it's two worlds. So, I break down in the book just how I went from one state of mind and level of consciousness to God consciousness.
Okay.
And pretty much that's it.
Okay. So what inspired you to write a book? Like, that takes a lot of effort and dedication. Like, what motivated that? That is a key question. That's the question. So, I wasn't expecting that. So this is what inspired this. True story. How can I break this down fast? A business associate of mine in the world had a Ford dealership named Bob Thomas. Shout out to Bob. That's crazy. So he, while I was there at that particular business, he had looked at my lifestyle, the music. He just looked at everything and said, "Yo, man," his words. He said, "Yo, man, this is there was some guys, actually, some people came to his office to visit him that day, and when they left, he came and called me into his office and said, did you see those people that just left?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "They're authors, they write books, they're publishers or whatever." And I said, "Okay." He said, "They want to do a story about me." He said, "But I was thinking, let's do a story about you and your life." And I said, "Yeah?" He said, "Yo, let's just be honest. It's a fucking success story." His words. So I said, "You know what? Let's do it." So this was all prior to my incarceration. So we had a plan to set up and actually write this autobiography. It was supposed to happen a different way at a different time.
when I got incarcerated, the seed had grew in my mind by then. So when I got incarcerated, I just started writing it. I said, you know what? I'm going to start writing it. I'm going to just get it done. So from the day I came in till now, I've been pretty much finishing this book.
Wow, bro. So it's already out and published, right?
You have 1 minute left.
This book is not out and published yet, and the reason why it's not is because I have to there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in here right now. These people is crazy.
That's for sure.
But it's not out. It's not out yet because I still have to do some things in regards to the end of it. That's all.
Right,
like I want to I have a trial coming up where I'm going to overturn this situation, and I want that to be a part of it. Other than that, I'm done. Once I finish that, it's over. The book's done. It's just that last piece that I want to make sure it happens, and then it's over. And that, I would say by next year, this book should be released.
All right, we definitely gonna be looking for that. Most definitely. Call me back one more time, bro.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.